Profession with the highest depression rate. In this video, you will see 10 of the professions in which people are the most depressed, so you know that you may be at risk if you're in one of these. If you want to find and nurture your ideal occupation or business niche, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. Also, remember to smash that like button. Alright, let's start right in. So number 10 is actually artists and entertainers. Usually, the average population has a depression rate of about 7%. But when it comes to artists and entertainers, that occupation has an average 9% of depression. You can compare that to the average of 7%, but you can also compare that to the unemployment depression rate of 13%. And as we know, one of the major things that's linked with depression is actually not having a job or having something in which you can add value to society and feel like you're making a difference yourself.
So when it comes to artists, it is a very uncertain occupation since you don't have certainty over your income. You are sometimes dealing with a lot of people who can criticize your work. And it's this difficult and frequent interactions that cause people to fall into depression more often than not.
Number 9, healthcare professionals.
Demanding long hours, shift work that messes with your sleep schedule, seeing patients' sickness and ailments of all kinds every single day, and seeing people die all the time. Not only that, but you have to deal with the relatives who are pissed off as well.
Overall, some of the occupations that have the highest rates of depression are occupations or professions in which you have a lot of interactions in which you don't actually get thanked for what you're doing. Those interactions can be difficult. Maybe you're being criticized. Maybe you're seeing a lot of difficult situations that make you feel dragged down or make you feel down yourself. Also, it's important to know that many of these occupations with a high depression rate are also occupations where you don't have a lot of physical activity. That's why occupations like being in the mining industry or being a construction worker, you see lower rates there. You see them closer to the average of the population of about 7% for both of those occupations. Although this is interesting because it's interesting because if you see or you saw our video on professions with the highest alcoholism rates, then you will see that both miners and construction workers were there because they were using alcohol as a way to numb the physical pain or the overexertion physically speaking that they had to do over their jobs. So in that sense, I guess you will have to pick your poison of depression or alcoholism. Although, let's be a little bit more optimistic than that, because you can definitely do something that will make you happy. Number 8, security brokers at 12.5% of the people working there being depressed.
Security brokers usually have to deal with uncertain income, very high expectations at work based on their performances, and sometimes they have to do things that are not necessarily the most ethical based on their client's interest or their own interest. All of these things can go into making someone depressed.
Number 7, salespeople.
Much like with brokers and real estate brokers as well, salespeople just have a lot of expectations put on them in order to perform.
Number 6, working in waste management or garbage collection or any of those industries at 13.5%, I believe.
Talking about unsung heroes, waste management professionals keep our streets safe and all of our children healthy. However, all they see all day long is your trash.
Also at 13.5%, we have legal services.
You want difficult and frequent interactions? Try going into law and being the person who has to mediate a divorce or someone who has to deal with someone suing someone else or a criminal. Yeah.
At 14%, we have personal services.
This is any kind of intellectual service that you're providing or physical service that you're providing that is not a sellable product.
And going further down our list, we have at number 3, social workers, with almost 14.5% of people working there being highly depressed.
Were you depressed by yourself? Try dealing with depressed people all day. And people who are abused, people who have family issues, people who are homeless, people who are in need in society.
At number 2, we have people working in real estate. with almost 15% of people working in the industry being depressed.
Interactions with people who may not be having their best days, and an income that can be very dependent on the economy. Being a real estate professional is not for the faint of heart.
And finally, number one, public transportation. Now, you might wonder, why is that the case? Well, think about it. It reunites a lot of the reasons for why some of these occupations develop depression in the people who do them. You can think of something more perhaps mundane, or something in which you will interact with more people that are perhaps groggy or cranky, or a place in which you won't actually feel the impact of what you're doing than working in public transportation day after day, in and out. You will have to deal with these difficult interactions. You will actually have to work at your job without actually being thanked for it, without actually seeing that you're producing necessarily a positive impact that makes you feel proud and fulfilled with the work that you're doing. And that's important because at the end of the day, as some studies have shown, something that combats burnout when you're working, and maybe you're a therapist or whatever, that what combats it is seeing the positive impact that you're having on other people's lives with the work that you're doing. So if you don't actually get to see that in your day-to-day, and you're just having a lot of difficult, frequent interactions with people who are not having their best days, and that's simply gonna drag you down because you're in an environment that's not necessarily the most positive one. Comment below if you're happy with what you're currently doing for a living, and if not, that's fine. Just smash the like button below and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. And that way, maybe we can help you figure that out for yourself.